always sorcerer.
Hello and welcome to Jarviskjir Mind Over Matter. I invite Neil back on the show and immediately talks over the beginning. There's no Dean here to back you up this time, derailing the show off the direct.
Get in the chat.
That's where you're wrong. I am in the chat.
Why is it not showing up?
All
it's
right.
not showing a map. Oh, there it is.
Dean's always here in my heart.
In your heart. Okay, good. Great. Well, let's not worry about the heart. Hello and welcome to Jarviskjir Mind Over Matter. The brain. That's what we're talking about here today. Not the heart. Doesn't matter. The smooth brains and incredibly wrinkled brains. Anything in between banned.
There are only two genders. Smooth brain and wrinkled brain.
That checks out so well. Of course, let's go over the obvious. This boy is a different boy. This is not Will. Just different boy. Boy of many different dangers. Will have to kind of leave the show due to a variety of unplanned minor disasters. So we'll hope to get Will back at some point. But this is also a show where we're planning on having some rotating guests. The guests do not have to rotate themselves, although it is recommended. So Neil, thank you. Yeah.
I'm not doing that, otherwise I'll get sick.
You're not a guest. You're permanent. You're good.
I did it anyway.
I could pick up on what was.
Huh? I'm permanent?
Yeah, you're set in stone.
Where's my contract?
Neil was nice enough to come in our hour of need, so here we are. Here we are with the show. It's a shame to leave Will so soon, but yeah, we'll hopefully get him back for at least
Love you, Will.
some more stuff because we want to see what's going on with Yemen. But for now, I guess I'm Yemen.
Boy, we need a stoic dwarf.
Well, instead you'll get something very different. Why don't we summarize what's been happening for the last 2 sessions? It's only session 3. It might seem like longer. You guys are delegates of, well, really you're just random people hired by the Lady of the Ebimari to basically be diplomatic task force. You're like the UN, except you actually are allowed to do stuff. You were sent to the Emerald Eye Enclave, an enclave of gnomes, to see what was going on, and it turns out that some kind of rogue magic has made them all trip out of their heckin' minds. And you very carefully beat the living shit out of most of them, knocking them out. Although not all of them. You did take out their leader. Actually, Yemen took out their leader. But there were a couple left alive. One Chance managed to finish off right after that, basically when we cut to black. One gnome, as you're wrangling the others together unconscious, you've got a gnome pile of a couple of them, gets away. One of the deep gnome's eyes glowing with rogue magic dashes and dances. It's the one that was fighting you, Ocean, and by extension Ajal, but you need to hit someone to be fighting them, so
I hit someone once. I got a hit. Do not take that one hit away from me.
You may hit them once.
Then that's where we start off today. You guys are getting together the rest of the gnomes to assumably take them back to Ebimaro and kind of get them looked at or something. But one of them dashes out of the door. Out of the chamber, out of the door, skitters away into the snow outside. What do you guys think about that?
Is this?
Yeah. This is like, while you and Yemen are like tying up the two that you guys knocked out, you can see the gnome scatter and then get out the door, far away.
Shall I go after him?
Is it even worth it? We have what we came for.
Everyone deserves to be helped. Can I use my long legs?
You can chase after.
My 5 feet of legs.
Literally
The
taller
legs
than
go
me,
all the way up. It will be an athletics or acrobatics roll to chase after. Which of these are you doing? Acrobatics? Acrobatics 20?
Oh, yay!
That's actually a really good roll.
I have some long legs.
That bitch fast.
Long legs. You can just chase after this guy. They do get
Just
pretty
like,
far.
There's like an earthquake, like.
Yeah.
Eventually, you can snatch them up and I assume sort of tie their limbs together so they can't run anymore. They will kind of like a upset kitty cat. Once you pick them up, they kind of just like give up.
I just hold them by the scruff and walk them back in.
Yeah, absolutely. And by the time you get back, Yemen has gathered together all the gnomes into a bundle and just kind of like.
Before he fireman carries the lump, can I take the time to like go through like their pockets or like see if they have anything like on them, like anything of interest or.
That's a good idea. You already did that with 2 of them, but there are more.
But
people
not
here.
all of them.
Yeah.
Need to be checked.
Give me an investigation check.
That means I need to get my character sheet up. That would help.
It's a slight requirement.
What is it? Investigation
Yes.
and just a straight roll.
Mm-hmm. Man, for some reason it's whisper silent on my end today. With a 13, so you can go through all their pockets and things. There's a couple of mundane rings that aren't even made of like a precious metal or anything. There is actually a little bit of actually a couple of them have a couple bits of crystal. So the crystal that you were amazed with, it's the same reason why the gnomes are here. They're amazed with the glowing green crystal of this place that's got this illusions within it. Some of them actually have like slivers of it that actually glow with this green light and even make like a little bit of a kind of magical noise, very faintly.
Okay, I'm probably gonna so with the things that aren't the crystals, I'm gonna pocket them. Just kind of I mean, they're not gonna miss it. They don't need it. With the crystals, like knowing what has been said about them being like kind of detrimental, I'll put them back in their pocket, but I'll make a mental note that they're there to take them out because I don't want that in my pocket. Because you know what they say about mobile phones in pockets? You ain't having kids, so I'm not having that happen.
You're worried about the 5G.
I'm not having the 5G. Give me that shit.
Don't spread that. Someone's gonna take out our signal place and then be like, "We're free. Why can't I call anyone?"
That did happen. That did happen in this country.
Speaking of things that won't be missed, in 2 senses here, as Charl is going to slink off while all of the gnomes are being tied up and wrangled and investigated, and is going to have a look for anything like magic related in the nearby like rooms, area, books, anything like that. I realise I can't read Gnomish, but I assume I can at least get a...
Actually, one of the chambers off of this place. So Gnomish enclaves are kind of designed that, like, if you're entering them from the front, you can't really get everywhere. They're very secretive places. Like, this is almost like the stuff that's public, although there is access to what is essentially a lab here. They were mostly jewelers, and this is where a lot of the jewelry was being done in. The jeweling, I suppose. So there's like jeweler's tables and whatnot, which, while Ashal, you probably not encountered them before, it's very obvious what it is. A lot of very fine tools. This is what Gnomish Enclave specialize in. But there's also evidence of just general magical experimentation. There's a lot of shelves with jars in, which with jars on. Some of them open, some of them closed. Some of them have little pieces of crystal in. Some of them have like little blobs, little tiny slimes or something. So we do have a lab
One of them
here.
is Flubber.
Yeah, there's a cameo. Cost me loads to get it in, but it's for the fans.
1 or 2.
Okay, I don't want to take anything too obvious, like the actual tools and such like. And
Okay.
Ashal doesn't have any interest in that really anyway. What Ashal is looking for is knowledge, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Books, schematics, papers, anything like that. If it helps, I do have law keeping.
That does help.
Scan things for importance, even if I can't necessarily understand the language. Does it sort of give me an idea, even without the language?
Law keeping doesn't necessarily translate completely, but it does give you the vibe. So it's actually perfect for this. You can go around the lab, softly touching things with your long fingers.
Extending the mind out to the... Yeah.
We turn around and we just see like hands touching, but also some tentacles.
Yeah, the tentacles are definitely
Just
wiggling in anticipation.
Yeah. So what the thing that you're probably most interested in is they definitely do have like records of what they were doing here. Of course, they get more and more wild as time goes on. This is a fairly new enclave. It's only been here for like 20 years. So there is essentially 20 years of notes that in the last couple of years have just been becoming gobbledygook. There's also general gnomish tomes of like, not quite spell books, but like best practices. Okay, here's how you would enchant, the best way to enchant a ring, the best way to implant illusions onto an object, that kind of thing. So enchanting books which have value either for enchanters or just general trade. Which you would probably want to pick up as well. There's also a lot of study of mimics. There is a one of the other fresh tomes here that is like clearly been written by them is the study and practical usage of mimics.
Okay.
We're going to need that one.
So yeah, I'm definitely taking, like, I'm basically grabbing enchantment books. I'm definitely taking the study on mimics. I think Ashar will take for records.
Yeah.
They will try and be subtle about sort of the older records, make it look like kind of they're taking the newer records as evidence of what happened, and then just pocket the rest for their own uses.
Into a bag.
Yeah. Everything is going into like random pockets and bags. And...
Luckily they're gnome books, so they can fit in your pockets.
Good.
Tiny. Me and Ocean's in this lab place as well now, right?
If you want to be, although for a little bit you guys would be wrangling all the gnomes together.
And that specifically, as Charles snuck off them because they weren't sure how you'd react to them basically ransacking their lab.
So you can follow in afterwards to see as Charles kind of like in the lab finishing things up.
Yeah.
I think
We don't have the ring yet, do we? Like we haven't found this commissioned.
You have not found the rings, the 2 rings that were commissioned. No.
That's what I'm thinking. Like, there's all these things these guys have, but we haven't found the thing that we've come here for. So
very smart.
In rare times, chance
Neuron
can be very
engaged.
smart. Yeah, when they're not trifling through pockets. So I guess seeing Ashal doing the books, I'll look around for the not books, the things that aren't books, the things that have been worked on. Rings.
Yeah.
I'll also take a look.
Investigation or perception check for this.
I
Also,
will
if
do
anyone,
perception.
if for some reason one of you actually did have jewelry proficiency, you could use it. But I don't think
I
you
wear
do.
jewelry, but that doesn't really make me proficient.
Proficient in looking good is technically a skill.
You're freaking Ocean is good.
Ocean's lucky.
Yeah.
Ocean's got luck for 2.
You take that one.
Chance, there's a lot of cool shiny things, you know, but you're not know exactly what you're looking for. Ocean, I mean, having the advantage of height as well, you can find that the rings were actually stashed basically on a very top shelf, deliberately out of the way. You can tell that they were stashed there because there's like little gnomish handprint shoving it into dust.
There's also a little gnome.
Like a little baby one. There are... So there's two rings there. They look exactly like they did on the blueprint. They are attractive, although the key point in the designs are little gemstones. I think one's an emerald and one's a sapphire, that are kind of square rectangle cut.
We know how many?
There's
I
2,
thought
yeah.
Just there were 2 that she asked for.
There are more rings in this place and other pieces of jewelry. These are the rings you were commissioned to get.
I'm going to make eye contact with Ashal whether or not I should take all of these other rings. Do people want me to take rings?
I mean, have you kept up the mental? Have you? Because Ashal, you were the one person who opened their mind to Ashal.
In that case, we're gonna communicate, but it's just
assuming you kept that's still up. You would get a sense of sort of cynical amusement and agreement
I'm
to
just
the
gonna
idea.
take the rings. I'm also going to look down, and if you want to go onto a shelf, I can lift you.
Lift me, mommy, please. Lift me. I am now on big woman hand and looking around. Even
You're gonna
more.
get dusty.
Aha! Just joking.
Whee!
Like
Like that
Spider-Man
wouldn't
to
be.
the ceiling.
That would be so fun though. Like.
Oh,
Come on.
toads! I wish.
The other rings you get, and this is just one of those ones where it's like, I'm not going to go into specific, you get a bunch of assorted rings. They are largely unfinished. That means they only really have worth for their materials, or to other jewelers. Now, the majority of the rings that are being worked on kind of while you're going through it are actually silver. And both Ocean and Chance, you know the inherent value of silver. While gold has inherent value, not just as a trade resource, but due to its magical properties, silver is inherently worth... I was going to say inherently worthless. Inherently worth things due to its divine properties. Silver is used in a lot of religious rituals, so this would be something you could trade to like a church or someone who's religious and get quite a bit of value with. Yeah.
I will pocket the rings that Ocean didn't pick up and put them in my pocket because they are rings and
doesn't
shiny.
really have pockets that aren't occupied by knives.
I will be the pockets. I am the pocket. I am the hot pocket.
Are you 3 quite done in there?
Yeah.
We just freeze in this tableau of like loose
Stealing? I think we should take these ones home. Says Yemen.
Yep. And then Chance will just jump off and then scuttle back with happily full of rings.
Last, like
Like Sonic.
Ocean will catch you and put you back on the ground.
Unless
a
it's like one of
cat
those things where
jumping
you're
off
like,
too early.
you're gonna catch something that's too small for you to catch, so she goes like, oh no, and it's
I'm
just like
bug.
goblin jam.
Oh.
I was waiting for the Neil-esque comedy to come into play.
I've been resisting.
We got it.
As we're going back through, you hear what you assume passes for a chuckle from Ashal with the vocal cords, which is a sort of weird thing, and they just went, I did not expect you to be so blasé about petty larceny. As they just float through after you.
Yeah, so we'll meet back up with Yemen.
Well, as the kids say, YOLO.
Is that in character?
With Zoe, it's 50-50.
Yes.
Sometimes things aren't canon, and you know what? I'll just go through with my eraser last time.
Oh, it's canon. Sorry, it's canon.
Yemen would kind of start moving the bundle of gnomes. Sometimes try to get them moving on their feet, then realize that's not really going to work, and just heft them up. And you guys can start leaving. Anything you guys would like to sort of do or be on the lookout for on the way back? Because you're basically going back exactly the way you came, unless there's a different plan.
at the crossroads, Ocean will turn. I need to get you fools' names up. God.
They might be up on the bottom of. We can set it. You guys can individually set on Roll20 your names to show up at the bottom instead of your real names, your character names.
As Charles, in the crossroads where we fought the Ronin.
You met the Ronin.
Well, that's true.
Mental fight.
Up, she's gonna glance up that crossroads and say, I can see that you're drawn to this road. Is this something you would want to know more about in the future?
Ashral will stop, and there's quite a long pause, which probably isn't too long for someone who's used to elves, but and they will eventually say, at present, no, it is beyond us, I expect. All that lies down that path is sorrows and regret and lessons learned.
You ruined that monologue, Neil. You ruined it with your memes. All right.
As you're starting to head away from the shrine, this is the shrine on the crossroads. On the crossroads, leading down towards Rangafuth, a ruined Ebamari settlement. You have rested. This is a multiple day trip, remember? So you can restore your spell slots and all that sort of thing. I was going to tell you, but then Zoe time skipped before me. It's on the way.
I get my HP back.
Yeah, so on a long rest, your HP and your spell slots recover to full.
Oh, cool.
Your
Do I still have my temp hit points?
Your temp hit points reset.
Okay.
But they don't reset on a short rest, just so you know. And your hit die, which you use during a short rest, you heal half of your maximum of those. Go more over that when that matters, of course. It's on the way heading back towards Ebimaro, actually very close to the shrine. The snow has slightly obscured the paths, and due to the way the winds move through these caves, they do tend to move in very visible channels that aren't always the same. And sometimes that carves out new roads, and it's sometimes easier to take those than to stick to other ones. So you're traveling through one of these channels of snow, which is excavated stone down beneath. You're near natural pools. You can even hear the water trickling, and you can even smell the freshness of the water when you hear a growling and something darts out of the snowbanks towards the lot of you. It is a creature the size of a wolf, but with the features more like an eel. It's very much like an eel with wolf-like paws and legs, and it is launching towards you, snapping its jaws. Yemen will let out a kind of like slightly embarrassed sound. It's very short, as he's like trying to wrangle all these gnomes and can't get to his weapon. But for the rest of you, when I wrangle my screens, wrangle is the word of the day, by the way. You can roll initiative, including you, Neil. A mysterious stranger far away in the shadows.
Yemen just with 3 gnomes.
Yeah, like it's
They're
canon.
strapped to his back.
He's been trying to do a lot of techniques to keep these gnomes together. They're all of the gnomes are suffering from being addled. So they're constantly like, they're not struggling, but they're just like, it's like trying to get your drunk mate like in the taxi.
or they're like 3 kids on child leashes just trying to bolt in opposite directions.
Oh,
Not the
it's
best
our
initiative.
friend Fish Face. I love this token.
It is a fish face. You're not wrong.
I thought you were gonna say, I was really anticipating you to say that it had like the face of a man or something Lovecraftian. But then
No.
you said an eel, and I was like,
It's just
It's
a
a wheel.
furry-legged lamprey.
It's not furry.
Oh.
It's slick.
no, don't say that.
Wilf. I'm
Um,
sorry, but it's now called
The
a
wheel.
wilf. Wilf to me.
a wheel?
A wheel.
I don't actually hate that as much as you might think I will. Ashal, actually, you can get the first action here. Like I said, this thing darts out of the snowbanks, which are heavy on either side. So the snow is difficult terrain on either side of the encounter. Not that you're probably going to worry about it. It's coming, snapping towards you, because you guys are just fairly easy prey right now. What is your reaction?
I don't want to move forward, but I kind of have to. I am going to trust that everyone else will protect me. Actually,
A lot of faith.
would Ashal do that? No, I don't think Ashal would trust the rest of the group to protect them at this early stage.
Yeah, no. why would they?
Ashal is going to stay back exactly where they are, and will hold a mind sliver in case the wheel comes up and gets within range, which is 60 feet.
How far away is it right now?
Like 80,
90. Okay. Yeah, this is a long battlefield. Mysterious stranger.
Mysterious yet handsome stranger.
Well,
I
Oh, there you are.
Yeah, it was around the other end.
Done.
oh, I just
I
realized
suppose
I
I
haven't
double
actually
move.
set
He
chat to be able to
looks
see
a bit
through
like
your
Sun Elf dude on a bad day.
That is not the permanent token, by the way. That is just a default one because turns out we had to make a new character in a hurry.
What's his name again?
Vale.
Vale.
Yeah, that should
Emo
work.
Vale.
Vale
Vale
is better than
it's
that
Vale
one,
the
okay.
morning after the hangover. That's
So
what it
you
is.
guys see, I mean, what do they see rushing up behind this creature? And the eelhound is clearly coming towards you guys as a group, not this guy. What do you guys, what do they see, Neil?
You're a good 100 feet off, nearly.
Yeah.
Some of you. You can see a humanoid figure sort of somewhat staggers at first until it builds up sort of speed. You see it begins to move in a more languid way once it gets up a bit of pace towards the back of this creature. You can see a silhouette. You can see long, thin arms, long, thin legs. But most everything else is sort of obscured by some form of cloak, some sort of robing. It's too dark, it's too far to really tell. But you can see they have a sort of staff, a stave, something large in their hands. I don't think you'd see much more from the distance.
Although, based on you're in like a charging stance, right? Kinda.
Sort of. I mean, the object would be held in both hands, but not raised just yet.
Ah, okay. Okay. I wanted to check that. Ocean. What would you
Yeah.
like to do?
Well, Oshun's definitely taken out a dagger to throw, but now I'm...
I mean, it's too
I
far
think
away.
that's actually literally impossible range for a dagger throw.
Not to throw, but to hold their action, I should have said. But now I'm not sure, because, there's this dude now who's just sort of, casual, but not casual, I'm waiting for the situation to unfold.
It's acting kind of soft,
my
you
donut.
know? A little bit soft.
So you're holding an
Yeah.
action of what? A dagger throw?
Yes, please.
Okay. The eelhound is going to, maybe oblivious to look out, it's behind you, is going to keep charging forward. It kind of drifted out of the snowdrift like a very excited dog or something that moves really quickly and kind of scrabbles its legs.
Aww.
And then starts running towards you with a bloodlust.
Aww.
As it's running, you can see its mouth is frothing with, like, soapy bubbles. You know, like they're glossy, they're kind of colourful.
It's just come out of
Less
the bath.
or. It is now within 60 feet, so I would like to attempt to mind sliver it.
Please do.
Luck on your
I
side.
need to roll for this.
That's Ian damage right there.
Yeah, that
Intelligence
is.
save.
just
It
me.
fails!
Yes, I do a damage.
You do 1 damage.
I'll take it. It has a minus a d4 on its next saving throw before the end of my next turn, so I'll take it.
Good.
And then it's going to keep on running. It is going to kind of like skid. Kind of. And then.
Oh my god. Oh, it's close.
Oh, it's charging. Chance!
Bear is
What would you
approached
like
very
to do?
fast.
It's not a bear. It's 2 things, but not a bear.
Got my short sword and my dagger. Dual wield. Is that an action or is that just happening?
That is a bonus action. To take
Shit.
both out from nothing.
No, I'm gonna take both out anyway, and then I'm gonna move toward, yeah, I'm gonna move towards it, and I'm gonna
No fear.
slash it with my short sword.
No fear.
You'd also get your dagger thrown.
I still don't know.
In which case, you just pass your turn. Because you either... The way it works in 5e is you either do explicitly the thing that you said, or you do nothing. It's not a system where you can go, I want to hold my turn and see what happens. You can't do that.
Okay.
That is not going to be a hit. As you go to try and strike at the eelhound, your blade kind of slides against the slick side of it. Like,
That's the second time you said slick.
it's just the perfect adjective. I always confuse that. Adverb makes sense. Adjective? What's adjective? Who knows? Get out of here. What's the deal with that? But it does make the hound kind of like skid to a halt because it didn't expect you to run towards it. It's like a hunter that runs after things. Kind of taking the wind out of its fins. Ashal.
Ashar is going to do the same thing again, not seeing any reason to mess with it. It does have minus a d4 on this save.
That's right. And that might matter because it rolled a... well, actually, never mind. It fails anyway, but let's see what it was. Yeah, it got a -4, so it is going to take that extra damage as well.
He is just ramping up. Next to it
Does
with 3
this-
damage.
Does this have a visual effect?
I think it would be a bit weird because I've described how Ash'ar's sort of mind expands, sort of, and that people within that have a sense of the magic being cast. So I think to people within that sort of 60-odd foot radius, that 60-odd foot area that Ash'ar's mind expands to, they would probably see like elements of just sort of crackling storm, purpley storm, like around the thing's head, but just for like very faint and very split second, like barely visible, and then it would just like that sort of thing.
Awesome.
But for the guy running up, they probably wouldn't see anything except the reaction of the creature because they're outside the area.
Neil, it's your turn. I imagine it's going to be spent running.
Oh, yeah.
Running very fast.
He's pretty. As this figure gets closer, you can see a gaunt skeletal face, sunken eyes, high cheekbones, or maybe not so high. Maybe the skin's just drawn tight around his face. His hair, there isn't as much of it as in the icon there. What is left hangs limply down the side of his head, unkempt, not looked after. You can see his eyes are peculiar. They're alive within this skeletal figure. The skin is broken in places. Bones jut out. A couple of ribs are showing. His skin around his waist draws in at an inhuman amount, hugging the spine. It's frankly uncomfortable to look at. Probably less so for a bunch of people like you. But for standard humans, this is probably like a nightmare situation. As he runs over, you can see he's not wearing armor. Patches of his body are bandaged. Thick linen bandages wrapped around. He's got this shawl, this cloak. It doesn't cover him entirely, but it's there. It's tattered, it's ruined, it's musty. It's threadbare in places. You can not really work out what this creature was. Because it clearly was something.
Do you say anything or make any kind of like sign as you approach? Because you are out here to attack a wild creature, right? To defend a group of people from a wild creature attacking them, as a gentleman would do, right? So do you make any kind of sign to them?
I think the strangest thing that you would notice is that he's not making any noise as he approaches. Like, there's not. You would expect someone who's running over to like be like
huff and pant, and
there's just nothing. I think when he gets closer, he might say something, but I don't think he would just
not
yet.
right now. Okay, great. I just wanted to check. Ocean.
We'll say, is this your animal?
Is this your cat?
Is this a pigeon?
What's
It looks
your
like you're
character? We don't know your character's name yet, do we? So yeah, just directed at you, Neil. Your animal.
You'd see the eyes would glance towards you with like instant life reaction. He'd just shake his head.
His head falls off.
Oh shit.
Right. I'm going to lob my dagger at the doggo.
Zoe, you're level 2. 17 is an amazing roll. Don't err at 17.
Level 2.
You're level 2.
Oh my god, I completely forgot.
10
That
was
is a
pretty
hit.
good roll at level 2.
I was like 17.
I mean,
The
10's a
worst
good,
roll I've
10's a good
ever
roll.
made.
That's a
for
really
5,
good
10.
strike too. That's one of the ones where it kind of the hound will let out another kind of frothy growl as the dagger just pierces into the side, and of course it's a big dagger.
Is this your dog? No.
Anything else you'd like to do? You can move. Or are you happy just throwing daggers until you run out?
I'm good lobbing shit at it.
Okay. Looks like the hound is gonna bite at a chance then. It does kind of briefly. It does briefly look at Ocean, but then it kind of like wheels around. It's a very long thing because it's also got like the long tail of an eel, and so it kind of moves almost like a Chinese dragon or something. As it kind of moves, its head is kind of moving almost in a different way to the rest of its body. It will make an attack towards Chance. What's your armor class?
14.
It's going to hit a 14.
I don't want rainbow rabies. No.
I know you. I think you might.
Exactly what Chance was.
I think you might.
Okay, no, never mind. Okay, Ollie called me out.
It's going to be 6 piercing damage, and for a moment, it picks you up in its jaws.
That sucked.
the sharp needle-like teeth do pierce into your clothing a little bit, but it clearly could hold on to you longer, but doesn't. It's gonna let go of you, and then it's gonna use its slithering bite ability to become anyone it attacks cannot make opportunity attacks against it because it spits you out covered in soapy bubbles. As it moves away, you might try and make a swing at it, but you're like slippy and slidey.
I'm
And
so
it is gonna
confused. I
go-
want to like it, but don't.
And it's gonna start going for Ocean, but doesn't have actions for another bite.
Ocean's just gonna watch it approach, like, just trying to comprehend what is happening before, like, realizing that she has to move.
Do you know what I'm visualizing? You know when you go into like a car wash and the car wash has like the tricolor like bubble solution. I don't know if anyone's seen that.
Yeah.
When it's like all the windows and shit. Ugh.
Yeah.
God. Alright, I'm gonna be like, okay, so things have just happened. I've seen this guy thing who has
Guy thing.
proclaimed that this dog is not in fact his, so I have full permission to fuck it up. Don't do this in real life. But so, and then this thing just like gnawed my leg and just fucked off. So I'm gonna be like, the hell? So I'm gonna like go behind it.
Yep,
And
this will
just
give you advantage.
Short sword and dagger, just like, bro, what the fuck? So I'm gonna do my short sword first.
You have advantage, so
I
feel
have
free to reroll
advantage.
that. Yeah, you are flanking with Ocean right now.
I am. So shall I roll that again?
Yeah. If you fuck up advantage for better or worse, we just always reroll, because then it's like, okay, we always do the same thing, right?
The rule
That's
of Eric.
That is not advantage still.
What? Oh my.
Reroll with
oh,
advantage.
With advantage.
Yeah.
Can't you just count that as advantage if the...
If we live in a society, Zoe, if we start taking
Your
these things
society
away,
gave me rainbow rabies.
all according to plan.
I will adhere to your rules. It's fine.
That
I'll
is
take the
not
8.
a hit.
It's fine. I'm a
It's
slippery
too
bugger.
slick.
But my bonus action is going to be my dagger
Mhm.
with advantage.
Yeah.
It's done properly.
And that's a hit. Absolutely. It's a great strike too, actually. That's quite a lot of damage.
5.
Yeah. Ashal, you can see that this is quite a nasty wild beast at this point, right? Although, admittedly, a lot of wild beasts in the Underrealm could bite a gnome, a goblin, and throw it around. It's taken quite a lot of punishment, actually.
As Charles does note this, but is also keeping an eye on this other new arrival, and will actually call out to the rest of the group rather than to Neil's character. Will call out, "A product of Rangarfirth. Stay wary." But we'll mind slither the eel dog again, because that seems, at the moment, that's the only one that's a proven threat.
That's
So
really
minus
good if it
D4
fails its
again.
save.
It's got a minus D4 again.
Oh, the minus D4 keeps up as well, yeah.
Because it's until the end of your next turn, so you
Yeah,
can
you do it
chain
again.
it.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
so
yeah.
it makes
That's
sense
good.
that yeah.
I
Once I land one, I have a better chance of landing more.
So it's gonna get a 16.
well,
Which, to be
it's
fair,
got-
it's with all the debuffs, it took a while for it to get down that low, so it could have been a lot better.
Yeah. Ashal was too distracted, calling out to warn about this new arrival.
God, having friends sucks.
Having to talk.
Ashal doesn't know this is a friend.
Neil,
Oh, you. Yeah.
5.
do you have greater speed yet? Do you have greater speed?
Barbarians don't get a speed boost until like level
No.
like 5.
I'm slow anyway.
Wow.
Deadless moves slightly slower anyway.
I thought they got their speed boost way earlier, barbars.
And
I
monks
definitely may have
do
fucked over
way
some
earlier.
games like that.
Yeah, monks get it like really early, but barbs. are
That's
so-
what I'm thinking about.
it will move there, and it will. This time it raises the. You can see now, it's a rusted length of metal, with a big old. It's a metal ball, but you can clearly see it's hollow. It's filled with holes, all the way around, just on the end of a short, heavy-duty chain. And he raises it above the creature and says, "Leave the child alone."
Ocean, you're the one who has to follow up this. You got the initiative order. That means you have to react to whatever Neil's doing. It's a classic difficult point.
Am I the child?
I've never
think you
had
might
to
be
deal
the child.
with this.
I'm the child.
I think you might be the child. I'm also trying to figure out who's the child. It's your turn, Ocean. What are you feeling?
Also, I nearly said Cassia.
That'll happen.
Also, Oshun is pregnant, so it's like.
Yeah. What would you like to do on your turn that is happening right now?
I think Oshun's going to like just be holding another dagger from like a calf holster or something, and look at
That
the
poor cow.
at the product of Rangor and say,
Rangarth, yeah.
Good enough.
What do you mean? Speak clearly. Yeah, just what do you mean? This one or this one?
That's at Neil.
It would like look at you, clearly confused.
I'm gonna point at the dog. This one? I'm gonna point at the goblin. This one? I'm gonna force you into a
I'm
corner
confused.
of clarity! God damn it!
You would see that this creature gives you a look like clearly you are stupid.
Oh, it's one of these Neil characters.
And you see he begins spinning the flail up to bonk the creature that's in front of him.
Okay. In that case, Oshun's just going to reach forward and put on advantage,
Yeah.
and then just put her hand on the creature's nose.
That's a hit.
Woohoo! Pew! Ooh. What level do I cast it at?
First.
Just
You,
first?
you only have first.
I
at the
am
moment.
just. I should remember that. Okay.
Whoa. While it's, this is not as graceful as you describe, for it is a slippery eel. Now, it might be graceful considering that. But you do manage to just kind of stroke
It's like-
the nose of the thing. Yeah, exactly, as it's kind of weaving around, trying to work out what to do. Then it kind of, scrunches up a little bit and lets out a whine as blood will just kind of, pour from the mouth, and it'll start shaking its head quite wildly. But that does not kill it. And you know how much pain you force into another being when you use the spell.
Oshun is going to look sad. Behind the mask, there is a sad tilt from the head in that case.
The eel hound is going to try and bite you, Ocean.
Cackle.
Okay, you're going to cast
There's a
Cackle.
burst of it's basically like a mental, almost like a mental spike, of a horrible noise in the mind all of a sudden.
Yeah.
The rest of you would hear an echo, but it would affect the creature more.
It's going to try and make a charisma save against your DC.
13.
This thing has a +3 charisma.
What?
Lol, what?
So it's going to get a 22. So
What?
it's still going to succeed its
Fuck
attack
off.
as intentional. Yeah!
Fuck.
You could tell I'm not shitting you, because I wouldn't have told you the numbers otherwise.
Oh my lord.
How does this have a +3 charisma?
It's a very good boy.
Bubbles.
It's a very good boy.
good boy,
It's a very good boy. It's an incredibly good boy.
It's a dog
Kind of
and a
don't want
bubble
to kill this
machine.
thing and keep it as a pet, you know.
This thing is as charismatic as Charles, who is a sorcerer, which is a charisma-based class.
Oh my god.
This guy might be a charisma-based cast, you don't know. It's going to deal 7 piercing damage to Olxuua, and you are going to be grappled by it. Now, because you are larger, it's really just going to clamp around your leg.
It's so cute.
It's so cute as it's gnawing down to the bone.
God. It's got those little needle eel teeth.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Yeah.
covered in like car wash fluid. I'm just like,
You don't want that.
why?
You don't want to get that in your open wounds. Or do you?
At least it's
No.
washing the leg.
What does this smell like? What does this shit smell like?
Oh god, don't ask that.
I'm
Oh.
curious now.
It smells like eel, honestly. It doesn't smell soapy or anything. It smells like fish. Chance.
Nice.
Oh
It's your
god.
turn.
So, Neil's
Doesn't Neil.
character, with the squeak of my chair, I don't know if that was audible, with the squeak of my chair. So Neil's character just referred to me explicitly as a child.
Mhm.
Okay, so again, short sword and dagger. So I want to make sure I roll these first.
You might want to move first because
Yes.
Ocean being grappled means that she wouldn't give advantage. But if you swoop around here, you will get
I'm going
advantage
to
again.
swoop. I am going to swoop first, and then
Swoop
with
is
advantage actually turned on.
Mhm.
I'm gonna short
No one
sword
here
this
will get
thing
that.
first.
That was a remarkably bad roll. Half of it which hidden by the initiative tracker, but that is, you know, impressively
I am
bad.
Really
Obviously
giving Ian a
too
run for his
slicked
money.
up. Okay. So with the failed swipe of my short sword, I'm gonna like refer to Neil's character quite angrily. I'll have you know, with a missed swipe, and then dagger with advantage. Please actually hit.
That is a hit.
Okay, and then as I plunge the dagger
You
into
hit
this
my
eel
chin.
hound, like I'm gonna go like where the neck is. I am 8 years old. I can legally get a mortgage.
That's the funniest thing I've ever heard.
The eel hound with
Two
its
ones there.
jaws around the Ocean's leg is gonna be like as the knife sinks in. And Charles.
Ashal is just confused at this point by so many things. Ashal does
This
not
got
like
chaotic
being-
very quickly.
Yeah. Mind sliver.
I sure hope
Um,
Neil didn't want a badass introduction to his new character, instead got a meme sesh. It's gonna fail. It's gonna take that damage. There's gonna be another whine from the eel hound. Neil.
Let's just go ahead and one sec. I need to.
You need to
change
set
that.
the thing up. Yeah.
Change it to query. But that's okay because it did roll with advantage, so I have advantage, so that's fine. But I've set it to query now.
Mm-hmm. So that 20 is gonna be a hit.
Okay.
Is there a nice, satisfying sound that comes from the sensor flail?
So you see, as the creature spins up the sensor flail, you can hear the wind whistling through the holes in the sensor, and then he adjusts the pole, brings it down, and there's like a nice dunk. It doesn't, because this thing's slimy, it doesn't make the nice, satisfying ringing, but it's like a meaty thunk.
It's a real weapon.
It looks like something repurposed to work as a weapon.
It looks
Ah.
old.
Yeah.
I was like, that
Tarnished.
would be really dope if that's a real weapon.
There's a little bit of flavor, a little bit of work gone into this,
A bit of spices.
a little bit of spice.
Salt Bay.
Speaking of, Ocean, you are technically grappled by the eel hound right now. You can still attack at it, but it would have disadvantage, or you can use an action to escape with strength.
So I can attack it, but I move my flanking bonus to normal.
You don't have.
You don't have flanking right now.
Fine.
You need to be able to draw a line through the enemy to get a flank, and they're not giving you flanking because you aren't giving them flanking right now because you're like being bitten. So you would have disadvantage on attacks right now.
I step on Neil's character.
Shake your leg, God.
I think I just would try and. Do I try and get it off? I think I'll just try and like ease it off my leg and hold it in my hands.
Okay, so do you want to try and make an animal handling check instead of a strength check?
Let me see.
I mean, it is slightly better. At the top.
You know I don't offer animal handling checks often. This is a rare opportunity for you.
Okay, I'll give it a go.
Handle the animal.
Oh! It was
Do not
nearly an
handle the
18!
The animal does not want to be handled.
Slimy. It's too sleek.
The animal is gonna like struggle and shake its head against you, and more of the sticky, slimy bubbles froth up from its mouth. It is going to actually let go of you on its turn, and it's going to kind of like shake its head and whine, and it's going to immediately start running. Now, both Chance and Tumulus, you can actually make opportunity attacks if you wish, or you can just let it run.
I'm gonna fucking opportunity. Wait, was it just for that turn that I wasn't allowed to have an opportunity attack? Am I allowed?
Yeah,
to
you can now. Yeah, you're good.
Okay.
It was a specific, like, once it bites you, it can slither away.
Alright, I'm gonna make
Thank
an
you for checking.
opportunity attack. Can I choose
It can
between
be-
my dagger and short sword, or
Yeah, it could be either one, so you might as well just do
Short
your short sword.
normal roll? Please be good.
That was not good, but that's fine.
The sword is fucked. I'm gonna have to sell it.
You gonna make one, Neil?
No, as it runs, Tumulus would lower his weapon.
You might stay on guard for a little bit, but the eelhound runs away with its tail between its legs, not coming back for another counterattack. Leaving you guys victorious against a wild beast.
Truly be victorious when all I feel is confused.
I'm covered in like, ugh,
Soap.
that smells of fish, and not like the nice, no nice fish smell, I guess, but
Yeah,
and
you
fishy.
are 100% right. You smell like soapy fish.
Ugh.
Will we ever find out why this happened? In fact, Oshun is going to turn and address the stranger and say, "Thank you for your assistance. What was that creature?"
I am not sure. I saw it attacking your little one. I needed protection.
Chance will give him a look, like, you heard what I said and you're saying it again, like, it's that kind of look, as she shakes off the remaining crap from her
They're
arms.
there, children. They're there.
Tumulus, his head turns. You hear like a creak as he turns and looks at you. And his face cracks into a smile that you might think would be like pleasant, but his teeth are horribly yellowed. And you're fairly certain his lip splits a little bit when he does this. And he reaches a hand forward to pat. It is safe now.
I love him.
Can't even be mad. I like head pats. All is fine. Forgiven. Forgiven.
As
But
Charles
don't
has
forget
just-
how old I am. Important knowledge.
As Charles has just been eyeing Neil's character, who as Charles does not technically know the name of yet, the entire time with a something between there's like confusion, curiosity, and like wariness there. Even more so than normal, because as Charles looks at anything warily. What are you?
I
we-
believe the question asked Charles is, who are you?
No, this is not a living being, if my guess escapes me.
Living, dead, helped us out of a bind.
This one calls itself Tumulus. I am deadless. Why, I do not know.
Where did you wake?
I came from my namesake. I clawed out of a body, a pile of bodies, a hill so vast that it took me days to reach the surface. It was called Lichvale then.
That name means nothing to me. But not a product of Rangarth, then my guess was off. No matter.
I am not familiar with this rang. If you will forgive me, saliva is in short supply when you are dead. Some words are difficult to handle.
I'll like hold out my short sword that has still like some of the slick of it, and it's just like, this might help. I don't know.
That's gross. That's grody. Fish juice.
Tumulus would like turn, smile again, and pat again.
Puts the sword down. Maybe not.
Ashal will just remark, you are not the only one that has trouble with these words.
Yes, I am familiar with your kind. Kind, unjudging, sees the mind, not the body.
Unjudging.
Well, less so than my kind. Well, what was my kind?
What was your kind?
This is a lovely conversation, but I've got a bundle of gnomes.
Can someone put that in the quote?
Slashes.
Oh, context is
Good
beautiful,
job.
isn't it?
They need medical attention. Or something.
I guess we can talk more when we get back from what we're meant to do with the rings and stuff. Preferably I want to clean this off me because it smells bad. I think it's seeping into my clothes. Please. We'll bring him along. Yeah. Tumulus.
Ashal will nod and but just look at Tumulus and say, what will you do? Accompany us? Or continue to wander?
I will help for now.
Good. Decided. Alright. Shove of gnomes and they're like, oh, ah! And then,
Following close behind. Like still trying to shake the stuff off.
yeah, you do pass a little stream that crosses over this little road, so you can wash off the fish stink.
I want to get the worst of it off.
Yeah.
If I can.
You don't want to let it fester. And you can keep on working on the way back to Ebimaro. There may be more polite small talk, but you guys can think if there's any important discussions you want to have before you actually get back to the city of the Mind Flayers. But this is a great time for us to take a little break-areno.
Breakerinos.
So, we'll be back momentarily.
Hey,
That's
terrible.
it. We're cancelled. Show's done. Bye.
That was good, dude. You ain't even know.
I need a cup of tea for my throat.
Alright, hello. We're
Now
back.
I have Oreo sprinkles in my milk.
That sounds good.
That's a delight.
Yeah.
Next, I'm gonna melt my Oreos in my milk.
I've used Oreos to make chocolate tart
Cheesecake?
crusts. No, but you could. It's same thing, innit?
I wish
Um,
you guys could have seen my face when I discovered that Oreos were vegan.
They're vegan?
Yes.
I think
It was that face.
It depends which ones and where you get them.
Yeah.
It's not a universal rule.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you mean? Like different countries?
Different countries and different flavors.
Well, I'm
Oh,
talking
More reason to go
about
vegan.
British ones.
Okay, cool. But what we're talking about is the show we're doing.
Alright.
We have Oreos in there.
Sorry, Mom.
There are no Oreos in Jarviskjir, although if they were, they would be gnomish. Okay.
Where's the
More-
cookbook, Ollie? Where's the
Could be like little
cookbook?
The JavaScript
cream-filled beetles, crunch on the outside, cream on the inside.
Ooh.
It's satisfying.
Could be good.
Yeah.
One of the
Are there
ones?
any discussions you guys want to have on the way back to Ebimaro, or are you guys good? Because, discounting small talk, right?
Yeah. I can't think of anything major, to be honest.
I think
Nothing that's appropriate.
well, as Charles is very curious, and so would very quickly ask Tumulus would probably they would probably not while walking, probably while the others are asleep, because Ashal requires less sleep, and surprise, Tumulus does as well. But would ask, do you know what keeps you alive or not alive? The magic involved. I have encountered some few mindless dead before, but you are the first who has retained something of their mind. I am curious.
There are, or were, many of us. Once upon a time. As for why, I don't know. As for what keeps me going, there is something within me calling, telling me to complete something. That's all I know.
If you would consent, I would attempt to study the magics. I am sure that greater minds than mine have tried and failed to understand that in much the same way you have a task you must complete, I hunger for knowledge. And like you can see, like, as Xiao's eyes, like, they're speaking quite politely in a way, but there's very much a sort of a very ravenous gleam, not in a bad way, like in a positive way, like this is something I've not encountered before. Magic, I know. Yeah, exactly. Like the tentacles are a little bit excited. And is very eager.
Olxuua is the cool mum. Is just gonna slip you a condom.
I think.
Chance is very confused. Looks like a child. What is
Have
that?
fun, kids.
I think Tamulus would give you a long look for a moment, and then say, "If you mean observe, that is okay."
Yes, I suppose I could not run any thorough examinations beyond that. I apologize if I made you uncomfortable. My eagerness. I am not used to people.
Tamulus smiles at you. I am glad you call me people.
I mean, what else would you be? You're clearly a person. You have 2 arms, 2 legs, like us. You have
I think we're
a face.
Yeah, as Xiao specifically.
You
picked a
two
time when-
yes, you two are meant to be asleep right now.
Oh, we're asleep.
These two don't need to sleep as much.
In my head.
I am having this
They're
conversation
like-
in my head. Apologies. But my heart wanted to speak.
Yeah.
As Xiao won't say anything in response, but will nod in a sort of a not quite a knowing way, because obviously they don't know exactly what that's like, but they get the sentiment. Like they
get
know
it.
something of what you must have experienced.
All right.
Looks like the beginning of a beautiful.
Yeah. There be, yeah, you can have that nice little discussion while you're like on the last camp back towards Ebimara, when you can see the city in the distance, the blue lights glowing in the fog and snow. As you get back to the city, you actually don't get all the way into it. You're in the kind of like farmlands that surround it, that are clearly run and operated by Ebimari. And of course, they don't really what you would necessarily completely think as farmlands, but more sparse. So you're still on the outskirts of the city, but you can see it before. You can see it climbing up the walls as the city of Ebimaro does. A city of mind flayers. Something apparates before you. There is a rumbling of bluish magic, and from that, humanoid form apparates, which very quickly, as the magic kind of dissipates, is Olxuua, the Ebimari who gave you the task. Standing, but floating several feet off the ground. As most Ebimari do, they usually wear very long robes, in her case a dress, that just kind of trails off making them look even taller than they are. And also will even put up a hand, like, knowing that might be mildly distressing for someone to just kind of, like, teleport in front of you, essentially. Although it's not like a bling, it's like a, coalescence. Then she will reach out to all your minds and say, I see you brought the gnomes with you, which means this discussion we may not want to have within the city. I do not wish to cause discomfort for any of my people, and we should find a proper place for them. Please, if you would elaborate. I wish to know what happened there and what you have encountered.
Story.
There's also a moment where Olxuua slightly turns her head to Tumulus. She's a person of very slight motions. It's like, I acknowledge your presence. You will also be included in this discussion. So you can hear everything.
Well, do we have a story for you? Yemen? Turns to Yemen.
Gnomes saw some shiny crystals, made them go crazy, but they finished your rings.
Illusion magic. It's loose, effectively. It was not controlled, and over time, it affected their minds. Even as they experimented on it, the entire enclave lost themselves to it.
And Chance will pointedly go through the pockets of the gnomes that had like the little slivers of crystals and like present them. Kind of like far from her face, knowing that
they're dangerous.
they're kind of freaky, like, but...
Ashal would also pull out like the last couple of years of notes, like just for ones where it's clear they're descending into madness sort of thing.
She will reach out a hand. She's like 10 feet away from you, and you see kind of a blue magic extend from the fingertips, but also kind of pull towards it from the books. It's basically like a better version of lore keeping that she uses. Magic to very quickly identify and absorb the knowledge. And will nod. There is a moment of thought where, admittedly, Ebamari usually quite hard to read the emotions, but there's just sort of nothing. You just sort of hear the slight sound of the psionic energy that irradiates from around her. Well then, we shall see to it that they get the help they need. Yes?
That's good.
Would be nice. They seem like decent people otherwise. I mean...
Oshun will
Seemingly.
produce the rings.
There's a bit of a cynical laugh at that comment, like a mental cynical laugh.
There is one of us within the song who specializes in curing such ailments. Their name is Owlerwood. If you would take these gnomes to them. Then please meet with me within my chambers, so that we may discuss what is next. I see that you have brought a stray. Tumulus, you are welcome here to assist them. You may not know me, but I know everyone who is welcome within the song. Even those who cannot sing.
Or, like lean to Tumulus and be like, don't worry, she's kind of cool. It's fine.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. My voice. I've not heard this in years. You see, like, a visceral reaction where, like, obviously this is mental talking, but he puts his hands up, puts a hand up onto his vocal cords.
Mm.
Stop making me sad.
Ironically, the conversation cuts out then, and Olxuua will kind of... She actually did it last time. It's like a motion that clearly means the conversation is over. It's kind of a... As she turns and just starts to... back towards the city.
It's like a polite.
It is a polite version of that. Yeah, for sure. It's very diva-esque. Not like the Overwatch character, but like a diva.
I love this diva mind flayer who's like, I express myself in this way.
Yeah.
Here for it.
She cool.
To another.
She's also your boss, so she has to be cool. Yemen will start will heft up the gnomes again and start taking them towards this place that she mentioned. This is actually in the city.
Wants to leave. He's just been like hauling gnomes everywhere, and it doesn't want to spend his time this way.
He has been quiet, but also he's been quiet this whole time. When you get to it, it's a... You know, a lot of the structures in Ebamaro are built into the walls of the cave, not in a dwarven way, but kind of taking advantage of caves, almost like that they've been hewn by, like, large creatures. This, for all intents and purposes, is basically a, kind of like a rehab clinic type place. It's clearly a place for taking care of people, where both Ebamari and humans work. You will meet with Mr. Alwood, who is an Ebamari. Ebamari don't always have things that make them look different from each other. They can quite often blend in. But his skin is a kind of bluish purple, and he's got like a maybe even gnomish make golden monocle on one eye that when you approach it will zzz, like a camera to look at you. And the fingers will come together and will give a bow. Like, I have been informed that you will be delivering me some very sick gnomes.
Chance is just interested by that monocle. Just like, man, that's fancy. Do they like recognize, like, probably they might have gotten it from somewhere they might know. Does it strike any familiarity, like the make of it, or?
It's the kind of thing that you would have seen before. Yeah. You know, if these things are sold, they are sold in Gokhan. You know.
Yeah.
They're deluxe.
It looks like 50-50 form function. You know.
Yeah. It's 100%. This guy's wearing it because it makes it look cool.
They can see that. They're proud of it.
Their tentacles wrinkle in anticipation as they float closer to the bundle of gnomes. It's like, oh yes, very unwell indeed. Well, we'll make sure they have a soft and gentle life here while I work on curing what ails them.
Chance will hand over the slivers of crystals if that might help in the curing process, or...
We will...
Yeah.
My thanks. And he will take them away. Off into the garden behind the building.
And
Them out to pasture, taking them to the farm.
As Charles does, like, visibly relax a bit now they're not in the presence of another mind flare.
Okay. Then you'll, are you going to head up to Olxua's office? When you do, you go up the elevator. Probably the first time you've been allowed, or in like the upper echelon of the city, Tamulus. It's not like somewhere like Narashiro where poor, dirty people aren't allowed in nice places, but, you know, you might wander into a place you're not meant to be. But you can go up the glass elevator all the way up, and you can see the city below. It's quite impressive, right? when you guys get to the waiting chamber outside the office, there is the bodyguard there. There is also someone else. Someone that makes Yemen visibly hesitate to leave the elevator. A very large individual, around 6 foot, head to toe in finely made silver-ish dwarven armor. You can't see anything from them, you can't even see a beard. They just kind of turn their heads silently, despite the weight of the armor, to witness you all come in. And then Yemen does follow after the rest of you, eventually.
He's shiny.
They are, they're very
boy.
shiny and clean. That,
Yeah.
and also, they have a cape as well, actually, which is a little bit interesting.
Oh my god, they've got a cape.
Mm.
I guess we're gonna go see Olxuua.
Yeah.
Get the bodyguard's leave to go through or something.
Yeah, totes. Just checking,
Yeah.
just checking if there was any other option. I gotta give the DM pause, right? So you go, well,
They're a shiny
actually,
guy.
I would like to lick the floor and see what happens. You know, I never know what could...
I would like
Not
to lick the
that
shiny
rabid,
guy.
Come on.
I'd like to sniff the new man.
Perception
like to-
check.
Had an intro with rainbow rabies. I ain't gonna lick the floor now.
Yeah.
Anything.
You can enter Olxua's office with the correct, you're allowed in, and they will the armored individual will follow after you, of course. Olxua will be sitting there. It's almost exactly the same as before, although on Olxua's desk is a map of the Underrealm. And she is rolling in her hands 3 large coin type things. Very lot of them are made of like maybe iron or steel, and they're decorated. And she will say, I will admit, that first task was something of a challenge for you. What I would ask you to do now will be more of an undertaking and more important to me and to the Underrealm as a whole. As such, I wanted you to have a choice on what matter to field. For there are 3 concerns that worry me right now within this world we live upon. Before I tell you this, know that your task is that of diplomacy. There are cultures and people within this world that we have not reached out to, and we have not heard their say. If you do meet them on your travels, I require knowledge of them and their say. This community we have, the Treaty of the Deep, can be much more than what it is. Imagine the entire Underrealm working together in unity, not just in wartime but in peace. That is what I have you for. Now, with that out of the way, please witness the map. And she will... Should I put the actual map up for this? I think I will. I think I'll do it.
It's the map, it's the map, it's the map, it's the map.
Oh no, the map is coated in doodles.
Oh yeah, my doodles are
The
still on
map
there.
are coated in doodles.
Cleared those.
She will
They're
take
very good.
one of
Oh,
these
yeah.
iron obols. They are a very decorated coin with a very decorated mind flayer symbol on them. The tentacles kind of curve, and there's like the brain, right? And it's like it's large. It's a large, heavy thing, and they will place it here. This task would be what the rest of the treaty would ask you to do. Our task in this war against the greedy, prideful creatures of the surface. It would be our task to investigate and infiltrate the human city of Goldport. That is not what I am asking you to do, not yet. Beneath that city lies a place they call the Dusts. I know that there are individuals within this area, although our information is inconsistent. Scouts or individuals from the Song who have attempted to meet up there have found opposition, although not aggressive. I believe a group such as you would be able to make further communication, decipher what is within the Dusts, and what it could mean for us. We know that the Dusts holds a way to the surface, beneath the city of Goldport. Do not worry for them, for they, we are assured, are the foulest the surface has to muster. But that is only one task. I have two others which are more personal. Personal curiosities. I would not wish to have you scout out for war, if I would have my way. In the dwarven Abonir lies a tower by the name of Deep Spine. Within this tower they are crafting automata, the Duros. These weapons are used for war. There is one in our presence now. Now motion to the armored individual. You can tell that Yemen, like, you don't feel it, but if you look at him, his teeth are, like, kind of grit, you know? He's, like, visibly tense. The secrets of these automata and their creation and their efficiency on battle, despite multiple polite attempts, have not been handed over to us. And there are rumors of Duros that have gone rogue. I would wish to know what is happening within that tower. I would wish to know these secrets, for they give me some trepidation. And then, last of all, Narashiro, the city of usurper elves. Recently, after a disaster that relieved them of their last queen, there was a large influx of spiderkin living within the city beneath it. They have recently gone missing. Such a large arrival and then disappearance of individuals is of great curiosity to me and great concern. Spiderkin are not part of the Treaty of the Deep. They hold no nation of themselves. But the governing bodies of Narashiro have shown no concern. And I would like to look into this further. These are the 3 tasks I would send you upon. As you can tell, they are all quite far afield, so you will have to commit to one. Unfortunately, our ally Yemen will not be helping us on this journey. As you can see, your patron, Lorenzo Rosewater, has need of you back home. He sent this messenger to fetch you. And Yemen could see him kind of like, Aye, of course. And they kind of like look at a lot of you and like, well, I think you might know my vote. See you around.
Good luck, Yemen. I'm so sorry that our work together has been so brief. Perhaps in the future.
We'll kind of walk past Tumulus on the way out, kind of give them a look, and it'll be like a whisper, but it's a dwarven whisper. Like, keep them safe.
No.
Chance will take a last moment to just kind of give him a quick, like an awkward hug, but like, I mean, it was like the fault is there. It's just very awkwardly.
And he's not a hugger, for sure.
Yeah.
He hugs with his muscles.
Yeah.
At a distance.
Side hug, you know.
Yeah, he'll do the pat you on the back, and then he will leave, and the door will close, leaving a lot of you in the chamber to decide upon your quest. You have a choice of 3 large quests to go upon.
Ashal will, after a pause. So our options are hunt for a missing peoples, potential subterfuge of an ally, or traveling where others of the song have already been lost, perhaps taking us past our people's greatest sorrow in the process.
That is one reason why the dusts are somewhat beyond us. Yes.
I think Oshun would look to Olxuua and say, I trust we can count on a truthfulness between both our parties from now on.
Of course.
Seeing as how I think she feels that not being informed that the first thing was like a trial is sort of makes her worried that there could be, this is such a fine crack that could be bigger cracks down the line.
Yeah, for sure. And let me not forget your reward. Coins pressed of gold hold less value within my city than most. Although if you are traveling, you might have need of them. She will press a little bit of a button, and parts of the table will open up, and there will be 3 coin purses that are clearly made of like the skin of a cave bat or something. If you would go to approach them, the only person who could probably work out gold by weight is Chance. But there is 300. There's 300 gold in each of the sacks.
In each? So 900 in total.
900 in total. This is up to you whether as a party you want to hold on to gold individually or have someone who holds on to all of the gold for you. Both work.
Ashal is keeping individually.
Ashal will just
go straight into the tentacles.
just swallow it. I'll get it back later.
Chance would know better than to have all your riches in one place, because then it's easier to lose, especially on a night out.
Yeah.
Go con. It can easily go lost, so, you know, keep some under your bed, keep some in your pocket, so, you know, they would vote to split it up evenly as much as possible.
Yeah, so 1 each.
1 each, yeah.
Excellent. So you can store that on your character sheets, by the way. There is a gold section.
Does
300
Camulus want any for the walk back? Like 5 coins from each or something? 15 total? Because he saved us from Slick Doggo.
It would be wrong to request payment for services rendered for free.
I'm sorry, I like Tumulus so much.
This gold is yours, and you may do with it whatever you wish. And Regardless of what happens, there will be more from the treasuries for you when your tasks are complete.
Chance will sort of think, be quiet for a longer time than usual. You know, they're usually always like kind of muttering something or like making like little gobbo noises and interest, but like they're looking at this map and they're just thinking, well, there's a matter of what might be more important or what might be more pertinent, more urgent, but there's mention of Narashiro and how close it is to where they're from, Gokhan Paradise. And there's something in them that wants to go there first because this is their first outing outside of Gokhan. This is the furthest they've ever been, and going back feels like something they want to do, but it feels kind of selfish. So you can, like, if you were to look at them, there's like on their face, they just feel kind of torn between wanting to do something for themselves, going back home, see their mum, do what they usually do, go play in like taverns and stuff, be an entertainer, or
I think before you would even say something, Oshun would say generally, my heart definitely draws me towards these missing spiderkin. Anyone who goes missing and is not sought for, I would want to be on their side and search for them.
and Chance's ears like kind of like flicker and like a little hope.
Olxuua
Like,
also
not
gives
giving
you
it away,
a...
but just kind of like,
Also gives you the kind of the slow nod of understanding, and like you can tell that's probably why she's breaching this issue to you specifically, Ocean, right?
Shal will, after a moment, mentally speak, and say, "Deep spine holds no interest to me. Subterfuge, negotiation is not my strong suit. I would wish one day to investigate for sorrow in the direction of the dusts, but I fear that at present that is firstly not perhaps what you're asking, and secondly somewhat beyond us."
I would ask where we can do the most good.
I have nothing against pursuing these spiderkin. I am well used to scavenging and searching the dark corners of this realm.
I think Oshun would be like sort of running her fingers over the intricate spider-like patterns on the belly of her clothing.
Well, it seems that you are in agreement. Yes?
Chance like just nods hopefully. It's like kind of too afraid to like be selfish, but just kind of like, I mean, everyone else is going for it. Sure.
Yeah, there's a burst of not quite reluctant, but sort of a lot more along those lines, sort of acceptance.
Yeah.
Like if these are the options, then this is the best one, sort of feeling.
Travel to Narashiro and the caverns around it will take you past Kavanari. If you are not aware, the Treaty of the Deep as a diplomatic mission once held all of its meetings within the city of Narashiro. Quite a long way for one such as myself to travel. A feeling Deep Dwarf delegates agreed upon. Kavanari is a new city built for diplomacy between our nations. it may be wise to stop there on your way. If you take this obol with you, it will show that you are of my diplomatic retinue. It will not promise that it will garner you much. But every time I am there, I see needing faces. But I do not have time to look upon, truly. Well, at your earliest convenience, convene to Narashiro. Is there anything else?
Gold?
Hmm?
Did Yemen take his gold?
Yemen didn't get a gold.
He didn't get a gold?
No, he left before the gold showed up, and there were only 3.
Can Tumulus have the gold?
There is no
There are only
4th gold.
3.
There's only
There's
3.
no fourth.
There can only be 3.
I hope
I
he
was-
got some kind of reward though. He kicked ass.
Yeah.
Get a little bit of a pension going, like something.
Is there anything else you'd like to ask her before you leave? 'Cause you're probably not going to talk to her for a little while.
Miss you, bye.
Bye, love you, wah wah.
Wah, wah.
Mwah, darling, mwah. Fuck, I feel like there would be something that I would want to ask, but not right now. If that makes
Yeah.
sense, like it will come to my mind at later time.
You could always
Yeah.
send a courier with a message.
very
Those are
Massive.
those are
I do-
things
yeah.
that you could do
Okay.
in the future.
Ashal would. I don't think Ashal would have anything to ask, but like as they were leaving, would definitely just like pause and just look at Olxuua for a few seconds. Just almost like Ashal is pretty certain that they've got a read on her, but is just trying to get a bit more.
Do you want to do an insight
certainty.
roll there, Ian?
Yeah.
Is that what your tentacles are feeling out for? Go ahead and feel your
Yes
way
and
to
no.
the enter button and press insight.
It was more just a role play thing, but I will absolutely not get anything from a 9, so it doesn't matter. So it's just a role play thing now.
Olxuua doesn't move, other than the gentle motions of her breath as you're leaving. It's incredibly still, incredibly perfected. You know.
There's a minor sort of huff of laughter from Ashal, as if that confirms everything that they expected.
Of course.
Yeah.
This is
Conspiracy
some
theorist
drag
Ashal.
show level sass.
yeah. I'm not saying that Olxuua, has any inspiration from drag queens, but honestly, everyone needs more inspiration from drag queens.
Them's the facts. I guess
I
Are
think-
you, Ashal, are you done with Olxuua?
Yes.
Because there is something I did want to ask. I guess I'd kind of like wait until they've evacuated the room, just kind of linger around a bit, and then just kind of turn around and just say, not to bother you again, but there is something I wanted to pester you about. Gokhan is it's a gnomish place. The city is full of like gnomes. I'm clearly not one, but I was sent here as a representative of, dare I say, my people. But like, why an outlier? I'm clearly not a diplomatic type. As you can see, I am not a gnome.
Olxuua will look to the door and make sure everyone else has shuffled out, and it will shut behind them with the kind of Star Trek swoosh.
Stomp, stomp.
I did not send for you specifically. I sent for someone. Someone who was bright, with potential from your people. They chose you. If you have questions, I suggest you take them up with your high priest. How?
Oh.
kind of ponder that for a bit. Just, it's a strange thing to hear, but nonetheless, like, don't really have a response, and they'll just nod and say, "Yeah, all right." Just turn around and leave. I guess they'll pursue that another time. To kind of think of those words a bit. Catch up to the rest.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was late for school. I was making toast.
What, any discussions among you, especially with Tumulus kind of shuffling around after? Yemen is long gone already.
Ashal definitely looks like they have something to say, but isn't willing to say it in the city. But will sort of motion or make motions to go towards that food court they were at previously, because Ashal hasn't eaten in a few days. And needs a brain
Ashal
or
is
two.
getting pretty hungry.
Yeah.
My snack
We
hawk
wake
has
up
run
in the
out.
night and he's just snaffling closer.
It'll happen.
I guess in place of food, I would personally want to get maybe some new weapons. Something to... You know, I have gold. I want to kit myself out a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
You want
So-
to get another bat thing?
I will get another bat, earrings.
Oh, you can absolutely get some dangly earrings.
I'm gonna get some dangly earrings.
Shune's gonna get some food and sit at the non-conventional cafeteria table with Ashal.
Munching on a brain.
As Ashal eats a brain. So, Tumulus, are you going to go with Chance or sit with the couple at the food table?
When they're like, we're gonna go get food, he idly follows Chance.
They're okay with this. They like this guy. You know, the head pat's on point. Immediate friend.
All of the child comments have been forgiven.
So,
Not forgotten, but forgiven.
what kind of things are you looking for when it comes to gear? You said you wanted gear. I mean, like jewelry, sure. But what if you're looking at something specific, particular, or do you just want to be like, what is there?
I mean, sort of half and half. I want to see what is around, but I definitely want to get like more buffed up weapons. Definitely, I still want to keep a short sword and 2 daggers, but maybe a better short sword.
So just straight up, getting better versions of weapons is more than 300 gold usually. In 5e, it's very like, if you're getting something better, you're getting something way better, right? That's when you're going to be starting to get to enchantments or weapons that are specially made for a specific purpose, which usually take time to look for, right? Right now, you're just in a market, so you can look around and like, yeah, there would be weapons for sale, but things that are either like too big and unwieldy for you or stuff that you probably wouldn't be interested in using. If you were interested in any of the generic weapons, like from the book weapon section, you could pick some up. Like if you wanted to buy more daggers, just to have more daggers, that's a good bet. I mean, a dagger is 2 gold, like the proper quality one, so that might be a good investment.
Yeah. Kind of want to get more daggers then. I'll get
You could
more,
also even get like a backup short sword if you wanted. But you've got backup daggers, I guess.
Daggers are a bit more versatile. Short swords are like, yeah. Maybe I'd get a new short sword because mine's been all like ganked up and shit with like that rainbow rabies, and it's just like.
If you want to borrow a big dagger from Olxuua, you can.
Chance cannot use it.
It would be like a little sword.
It is a weapon designed for creatures over
Bigger than
double
me.
her size.
I'm just thinking,
you
you know
create
how from
sword.
Final Fantasy, you know how he's got that big ass Buster sword? That would be Chance
That'd
with
be
one
you.
of
It's
huge.
a mechanic in Jarviskjir, large size weapons. You need to be good enough to do it.
I'm too small.
Too small and not
That's bad.
talented.
Maybe if you threw it and I jumped on the dagger and surfed it through the air
Shove.
and then used my own dagger.
That's some Legolas shit.
Daggerception.
Yeah.
I'd probably just get 2 extra daggers, so
Okay.
I'll get 2 daggers for 4 gold.
Mhm.
And can I like trade in my short sword for like a discount off, like not like a better short sword, but like just one that isn't all ganked up and maybe
Trade it for
looks a little
something
bit cooler?
similar. Yeah. So because Ebamaro isn't really a trade city because it's so anti-materialist, I guess. It's not like you could trade it for a sort of similar like aesthetic quality. But you could trade it for an Ebamaro short sword, which would be made of one contiguous piece of bone, serrated on the edge, almost like the bone has teeth for cutting. In fact, you actually may be able to get a. One moment. Let me look in
My options
my
are
overalls
open.
I made. Because when it comes to getting things enchanted, that's expensive, right? Even in the Underrealm, where magic is more common, enchantment is just, it's an expensive process. Literally, gold has to go into the process, be consumed for the magic to complete. But you can get non-magical, the weapon has been designed with something in mind, such as hammers that are more designed to crush people's bones. And this also comes into using specific materials as well. This bone stuff does have a mechanical benefit in that there are spells that can heat metal. This weapon is made of bone. It's not going to work on it. So it actually is a straight upgrade from your regular sword just to buy a regular one, and I'd let you just trade. Although it isn't going to be as pretty. But
I'm sure they can decorate it some way, make it cool.
They
Engravings on the
decorate the
handle.
bone to make it more cool.
yeah, they are
ring
made
on it.
with... So it's a weird one, right? Ebamaro are not aesthetic creatures, but when it comes to like their weapons and their armor and stuff, they're all couture. They're all designed. They're all molded very deliberately. So it would have that kind of energy. I actually just checked. There is a property you can get on short swords that make them serrated. It is all 300 gold to get a serrated, to get your sword serrated. Which means whenever you deal maximum damage, you deal an additional d4 of damage.
That's
So
only
basically
on max damage.
Yeah, but your max damage potential is 1 in 6 on a short sword, right?
True.
So it's an option.
I think Chance is gonna be the kid that needs an allowance. Let's do it. Let's go.
So you're gonna ask for like another 4 gold from one of the mums.
I mean, we'd take care
I mean,
of you.
I-
'Cause you just got a fucking serrated short sword made of bone.
I had
like-
gold in the first place. I had 25 gold.
Yes, yeah. In which case, yeah, you can just Never mind. I forgot that you have money. Yeah, you can absolutely buy the serrated blade.
Rated bone sword. Let's
Yeah.
go.
And like, how are
serrated
you going
bone.
to decorate it? Are you going to etch little engravings
Oh.
into it? Or are you going to stick My Chemical Romance?
I was gonna say stickers.
Fucking both.
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 So, rules-wise, whenever you deal max damage, it does an extra d4 of damage. It also automatically does that on crit. It does 2 d4 extra damage on crit anyway. So on a crit, it always works. The other thing that you will want, and probably Neil and Ian will tell you want this in the future, is a keen weapon. That is a weapon that has been sharpened to crit easier. You can't really
was
have a
actually thinking
serrated
about that,
keen weapon,
but
but that's much more
yeah.
expensive.
Yeah. That's down the line.
Yeah. The other
Yeah, but that-
easier enchantments you
sorry,
can get aren't super useful.
Yeah.
Am I the kind of cleric that needs to pick up components?
No.
Okay.
No, not unless the spell needs it specifically, which you don't have any spells like that yet. That said, you may want to trade in some of that gold for silver, because silver is, if you want to do like a ritual or a holy thing that is not explicitly a spell in the game, it's going to cost silver. So you might want to basically trade some of that gold for silver just so you have some on hand.
What would you recommend?
It's probably a good idea as a cleric to have silver on hand.
Yeah. How much?
That's up to you. It's 10 silver for 1 gold. So maybe get like 100 or 300 or something.
Just like stepping into the airport, getting like to like one of those exchange rate machines, like putting in like.
Yeah, how much gold do I need really when I'm gonna be?
Yeah, that's
Well,
and that's
doesn't-
in most
doesn't
civilized
change the
places you'll be
value.
able to trade gold for silver anyway. It's just if you're out on the road or something.
How about like the average of 250 so far? Or is that awkward?
No, I mean 250.
It's if it's a
silver.
10, it's easy, right?
It's more than I have. I just spent the whole bag.
Yeah, you spent that whole bag. It's useful too. It's like, oh, this will be 300 gold. Got one bag, easy. Send it over.
What's it called? Retail therapy. Immediately.
Retail therapy in D&D is very important, especially you know, it's not often I'm gonna let you wander around a marketplace and buy stuff, but absolutely makes sense to be able to buy a serrated bone sword. There's also
it almost
white.
makes me want to take a look around just to see what like
Well,
crazy shit there is.
I do have a question regarding the market. Is there an equivalent of rations for Ebimari? Can I get
Yeah. Well, actually, kind of no. I was gonna say there are rations you can buy here for Ebimari. The psionic energy does not preserve properly. These brains that are being served here are either fresh, and honestly, if they're a couple of days old, then they're gonna be weaker. It's why you can't like drain the psionic energy off a corpse unless you were like maybe a necromancer. It kind of does. It do be needing to be fresh though. I do believe there are basically creatures that are designed to be rations for Ebimari, but they are expensive and not as efficient as eating a regular humanoid's brain. They would be, let's think of a good price for them. Let's say 20 gold each, and they're basically in a jar of like formaldehyde or something, and they're like a little brain with an eye.
I
They're like
love
wiggling
this
around in
idea.
there.
Your belt of little squiggly doodle.
And there's a
guys.
sign by the store which is like, do not tap the jars.
Each
But,
one you buy, you need to name it.
The downside being, you can't sip off them, and it's nothing. Because the nutrition you get is from literally the intelligence score of the creature you're devouring. Now, usually it's going to be like around 10, that's fine. 8, 9, 6, whatever. This is probably like an intelligence 5 creature, right? So it's like, it's really only half a week or so, 3-4 days of nutrition compared to a regular thing. So really, as an Ebimari traveling, you need to hunt or make deals to sip. A sip only feeds you for a day. So, like, in a city, you can probably find someone to sip. It's kind of like it's very analogous like vampires in vampire settings. And also, you could not ask, but that's a whole other thing.
Brings a moral question into it.
Consent.
Most Ebimari care a lot about consent.
Yeah.
They're the good guys here, you know.
Yeah.
I
I mean, I don't know if I mentioned it in this show, but in the other show, there are businesses that Ebimari run, especially in Narashiro, where they will, and they need to be very good at this, they will deliberately sip out traumatic memories from people's brains. Admittedly, that's not very pleasant for the Ebimari, because they feed them, but, like, they do eat. And then it's just gone. You know, whatever you eat from someone's brain is gone, even if it's just a sip. So
If you sip someone, what does the person feel? Do they just get like a little bit drowsy for a bit, or like
yeah,
it's not like a permanent thing unless you like
Well,
sip deeper.
it's
You were at
permanent.
the
That
last game, and one of the characters got like latched onto.
Yeah, that was a brain eating though. That wasn't.
yeah, that was not a sip.
It
That was eating the
continued
brain.
over several turns.
So what that was?
The head came off.
Yeah, that an Ebimari under their tentacles is a beak of serrated teeth, like a squid.
So they can core a head like an apple.
They core the head, the top of the skull, open, and then they suck the brain out. Now, Ebomari are civilized people. They don't usually do that. It is something that is sometimes used in combat, just like how a vampire might bite someone in combat, because it's a very useful tool. Also, while that is happening, people are they can't really react because you're like assaulting their brain at the same time. Now, sipping is just kind of the tentacles touch the brain, touch the head. So it's much less unpleasant. But yeah, it would cause drowsiness. The effects are permanent. Whatever you sip from is removed. I think there's actually rules in the Ebomari document that you basically remove years of people's memory.
It's 1d12 years. I
do
have
for that, and that's not coming back. They can tell you about it, but even if they were powerful enough to give you the memories back, they wouldn't be necessarily completely the same, right?
Because, like, you know, the neuron links, all that shit.
Exactly, right?
Okay.
Now, are there side effects to being sipped a lot? Probably, but you're not gonna suffer from a couple. That said, Chance, you are only 8 years old. You could lose all your memories and become a baby if this happens. Kind of untapped territory. Now, and also, let's get into the topic of what's okay and what's not okay to eat. Goblins are kind of a grey area when it comes to Ebomari because they don't really interact with goblins much. Ebomari usually try to choose creatures that they believe to be highly sentient. You can't actually eat like eelhounds, although I think it had a minus net intelligence, so you wouldn't be able to get much from that. You might be able to, go a day. Eating the brain, though. So it's highly variable and super fun. You're gonna have to keep snacking.
I will pick up a couple of the brain rations just as an emergency case.
Oh, what are their names?
You're gonna need to feed them. They need to be fed. Admittedly, they only need to be fed like a little sprinkling of like whatever mushroom tree you got. The solution dissolves it up, but they do need to be maintained.
Fish flakes from the pet store.
They're like sea monkeys.
But you eat them at the end, which
this one's George.
A lot of kids probably did eat their sea monkeys, to be fair.
Oh,
not me!
Alpha, this one's
not me.
But kids be kids.
But yes, those are like Ashal knows they're going a long way and wants a last chance saloon sort of. Yeah. I need to get something now.
Definitely.
Now another valid point in this discussion. Brain stopped. Transport.
You've been sipped on.
I've been sipped. My brain is now
That's where the brain rations came from. They came to Ollie.
And then on the tank it says donated by.
You could. It does say that on the tanks. It tells you about their lives.
Aww.
Otherwise, you don't know what you're going to eat.
Because of a pamphlet with pictures.
Yeah. Usually the ones that Ashal is eating in his food court lived happy lives on the farm. It's literally like they went to go live on a farm. Occasionally you have many different things, and there's definitely maybe this Ebomari really likes eating the brains of people who had terrifying, fearful last moments. Well, you can get that for a price,
I thought you were gonna say
that's
nightmares,
fetish,
and I was
man.
like, I feel
Yeah.
called out.
If you are creatures that live entirely in the mind, there's definitely some freakiness. Speaking of,
I've read Never Let You Go. Never Let Me Go.
Never gonna let
you could get mounts for the way that will speed your journey up a lot. The typical one would be a great server beetle. Those are the ones I mentioned before. They're around the size of elephants. They are bred so that their shells, you can basically sit on them, on the back of them up there, and also carry any large supplies you have. They are 300 gold to buy. You also have to take care of it, and you also have to pay stable costs. But they are very gentle creatures. The great server beetles, they eat dew that forms on mushrooms in the Great Fungal Forest. So in Ebomari, there's actually not that many of them, so you have to be a little careful. You might even have to buy like a little jar of dew just in case. But in places like Narashiro, they tend for themselves.
I went into this game expecting it to be emo city, the Underdark,
Mm-mm.
the like Narashiro and the Dark Elves and stuff. What I'm getting is cutie zombie McCutes and little baby one-eye brain doodles. Like everything is traded and no one really overvalues materialism. And now giant elephant dung beetle that just sips dew.
Yeah. I told you, the Ebamori they are good, kind guys who just happen to need to eat brains. It's a thing.
They're my favorite now.
We totally do need to get a server beetle.
You
though.
can get smaller ones that are more the size of a horse, so you could have like 2, maybe 3 smaller ones instead, which are 75 gold each to buy.
Nah,
think that makes sense.
we might as well get the big one.
Why? Doesn't it sound more difficult to manage and stuff?
The main roads are designed for these creatures.
I mean, like the stables too.
They'll be
Yeah,
designed-
yeah, they are used all throughout the Underrealm. Chance has
basic
definitely
beast.
done chores having to clean out the giant beetle stables.
Tower got my first kill.
And given that Chance has already spent their money on a sword, I think it's up to us to each pay 150.
Well, Chance is small enough to bunk on any.
I'm getting the free ride. I'm sorry.
Oh no, absolutely. Like I
Absolutely.
didn't mean.
Yeah,
it as,
the great beetle is just one for all of you. And it's a
Yeah,
very comfy
exactly.
space up there. Given how small this party is, you can sit and read up there. Now, this would be a beetle without any barding or anything, so you couldn't store supplies on it. Well, that's something you can get later, and you don't need that yet, right? I mentioned before that they walk over the road, basically, and got very long legs, and usually they carry crates and bundles on their underside, or sometimes above them. Sometimes there's like a palanquin for comfort as well. You guys are just probably going to buy a generic one, but the question
Base
is...
model.
I
Ford.
think Oshun would look longingly behind a mask
About the palanquin.
towards the palanquin.
Yeah, it is very much character fantasy. It's actually only 100 extra gold if you want to fish it out.
Curtain.
Ian is like, no, we should be
We're
sensible
gonna
with the money.
be so inconspicuous though. Like we are here to do diplomacy.
That's true. That's
That-
almost a good
like,
thing.
I mean, drag can
Wait, is that a
go
good
into
thing?
diplomacy
Could
in
be.
that way when you look the part.
if you lean
do we want to
into it,
look like the man's man though? Like, do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
do we
you
want to
can
look
do
like
that.
Boris Johnson
Bodyguard.
versus Jeremy Corbyn? Do you know what I mean?
We can all be different flavors. We can be the Oran High School host club of diplomats.
Oh my god.
it's up to you. So
You're
you
probably in
buying
a
a
palanquin?
are you
Shit.
buying a beetle for 300 gold at the stables?
Yes,
Yep.
definitely.
Okay,
I've
you
got-
have bought this beetle. What are you gonna name them?
How much do you need? Upper. Yip yip.
Okay.
Tower reference.
Yeah.
Let's think of a good name off stream. We need a good meme name.
Upper.
Upper. Just up. Are we just going with upper?
Upper.
Up.
Was it Oppa
Yep,
with
yep.
an O instead of Apple with an A? Because that's okay.
Upper.
That's not copyright.
Avoid copyright. Keep Ollie on Twitch.
Yeah, they care so much about Avatar. They're gonna go get me. They really care about Avatar. That's why they've definitely finished Legend of Korra. The beetle doesn't take to any of you immediately, but you can start setting up to, lead with that.
Oshun's definitely petting and also attempting to hand feed dew.
You can get like a big blob, like in Ant's Life, Bug's Life. They have the big
Oh, yeah,
bugs,
yeah.
gobs of water. Can you give me an animal handling check?
Oh god.
Yeah.
Please.
It's very
Please
important.
be
If you
watching
buy the
this
beetle,
one.
you need to do the animal handling check. The beetle is, it's eaten from your hand with a little pink tongue, right? Because that's how
Is it
beetles
called a
do.
proboscis or something?
Yeah, the proboscis. But it might not literally be a proboscis, but it's more like a butterfly's tongue, is how I imagine it. They actually, if you zoom in and slow down, they go,
If you'd rolled a 1, that proboscis would just jam straight into your wrist and just start
Yeah.
sucking.
yeah!
Cringe.
That's funny because that was actually a thing that was meant to happen on the travels and I forgot to do. Anyway,
Oh my god.
yeah, the beetle
Thank God.
is trained, right? So it's not scared of you or anything. Luckily, despite Ocean's size, you have a small person as well, so it's not like you're gonna overload the poor deer. And is there anything else you'd like to do in the city before you start heading off?
Do we want to like rest first? Like have a proper rest before we go out, or do we want to rest on
You'd
the
have to
road?
buy like a room somewhere, but that's possible.
I can do something
Oshun
about that
is-
maybe.
Definitely considering a palanquin that they can fill with pillows and it'll be soft to sleep on. They can open the velvety curtains or like sheer curtains.
You're doing this, and the merchant, who is actually a usurper elf, is like, this is genuine silk from the bowels of Narashiro.
Literally.
All of that sort of thing.
This is a
Because of the
usurper elf.
spiders?
Yeah.
You know?
Would I be able? No, this is unethical. I can't lean on my ascended drider-ness to like get him to
Get a
give me
discount?
a discount.
Yeah. Well, you could, maybe. Depends what the dice says.
I'm sure morality has like a different sort of definition in the underworld.
It does, which is where Ocean is kind of different. If you know what I mean. Ocean is
okay.
is good goyle.
No, Shun wouldn't do that. Does anyone else want the palanquin, or shall I just pay for it?
I'm off doing what I do best, and Ollie will know I have this. I have this background feat called by popular demand. I'm gonna pop it in the chat. So basically,
Yeah.
Here's Wonderwall.
I am going to fucking play Wonderwall on my matukin, which is like a ancient Chinese sort of guitar thing. Because
Like a guitar lute, yeah.
I'm an entertainer. I come from Gokhan. I'm an entertainer goblin.
That's fantastic.
So I'm going to pop to a rather modest looking place where people can like sleep for a night, and I'm gonna like try and blend in. I'm gonna look friendly, and I'm gonna like say to the innkeep, just be like, hey, so like we need a room to stay in, but like I spent all my money. Can I like play and like entertain like people for like maybe a room
Yeah.
or something? And then
This
they'll let me
checks
play.
out. Yeah. This
it
checks out. Especially because
I
like
play
this
Wonderwall.
it's like an Ebermari Inn, so it's like a comfortable hotel type place, you know? Not like a rough and tumble tavern where there's people playing knives. No, it's like a reading room, you know, with a little fire and all of that sort of stuff, and places where you can go upstairs to meditate or sleep, which are soft enough for both, because the Ebermari care about the people who come here, and also they'll pay, and you know, all that sort of thing. So you can secure lodgings for the night for everyone tonight. With that, would you be more interested
Buy
in
the
multiple
palanquin.
individual rooms or one big one? Think
As-
about that. You're buying the palanquin.
I'm buying a palanquin.
You're buying the palanquin.
You
What colour
bought
do-
a sword.
What color do you want
I'm
it to
not
be?
arguing.
It's going to be red. Like
Oh.
just red velvet bedding.
Yeah.
Throw in some comfortable pillows.
Yeah.
In...
Is it going to be like garish or like really stylish?
It's
red?
like a
No,
rich
not
regal
garish,
red,
but,
right?
like comfortable.
So
and,
yeah,
like,
it
airy.
with the 100, right? It's basically it's installed onto the back of the beetle, permanently, essentially. I mean, it can be removed, but only by qualified professionals. And it has basically a U shape of seat on the edge, and then it's open, so like you can yeet off or like throw shit off or whatever, but with the layers of curtain as many as you want. You could have it be sheer, so you can kind of see through, or you can have multiple of it for. You know, you have
So that we get like a blackout.
shrouding one.
for
A blackout
night,
one,
but,
yeah.
Like in the morning, you can like have like the sheer one, and it's like a fancy tent that you get to ride around in all the time
On
Yeah.
a beetle.
on a
Fucking
beetle.
Sick. What
Right.
colour's the beetle? It has to colour
The
match
beetle is usually
blue.
they're just sort of like deep blackened shell. You can get
We've
fancier
got to
ones, but they're a
buff
lot
our
more.
beetle.
It's a very expensive thing to get them because the process of breeding the beetles to this size and usefulness was hard enough. But definitely in Gokhan, you see people being like rolled in on the new, you know, like it's got like patterns
Called
in
my
the
new
shell
beetle
and
Cadillac,
stuff.
you know?
Yeah, especially the smaller ones. The smaller ones are usually fancier, the horse-sized ones. These ones are usually
Oh,
they're
for
just sort of
sure.
they're kind of like glossy black, the kind of thing where
You
it's like
get
it's kind
those,
of
like,
bluish teal, but
assholes
like also black.
Driving really fast, just like on their beetles.
Yeah,
Flames painted
literally
on the sides.
do.
Can you get like, you know, when you have like young boy racers who like do such shit with their exhaust where it goes like really loud.
I was
down the
thinking about
road?
this. I don't want to know
What's the
where this
equivalent?
continues.
Not in Narashiro, you get young girl raisers.
Yeah,
The boys are all busy doing the legwork.
Oh,
They're
the
learning how to
girl
take care of the
racers,
home.
Yes.
come on.
After this lovely long discussion, I will point out at this point, after buying the beetle and it becomes apparent that we plan to stay here another night, Ashal does not want to be in this city. Ashal is literally going to leave the city and go and camp like nearby rather than stay in the city.
Oh.
Oshun will go with you. Oshun won't let you go alone.
Okay, so it's
Because
Chance and
they
Tumulus in the
stay
city.
stay in your palanquin.
I want to.
Me and Tumulus will have like some bro bonding, you know.
Yes. Okay. So
After the
this
head
is what we
hurts.
discuss. First of all, question: does Ashal actually stay in a palanquin, or are you more comfortable like on the ground?
I think at least on this occasion at the beginning, that Ashal will be outside.
Damn it.
Maybe you can convince them in time, but not right now.
Fair,
So-
fair.
After a night of playing music, you do have food and it wouldn't be ale that they serve in Ebamaro, but something alcoholic and pleasant to drink. I don't know what it
because
would be.
I'm of illegal age.
Yeah,
Brain soaked in alcohol.
for both you and Tumulus. Yeah,
If
it
he
probably would
drinks
be
or
kind of
eats.
like it would be kind of like an alcoholic pickle juice. Yeah.
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 Yeah, give me that shit. I'm sure there is a drink.
Yeah.
IRL.
There is, right? I mean, kombucha isn't far off.
Yeah.
Kombucha's lovely though. Anyway.
Yeah. I agree that I would totally try this. I mean, yeah. But Tumulus is like with you, so like if you go and like sit near him when you're done, Tumulus also gets a drink and a meal of whatever, you know,
He
mushroom
doesn't touch the food.
sautés.
But he sips the drink, and you get the impression he feels guilty doing so. Like he reaches for it for a few times and then puts his hand on the table. Before occasionally he'll have sips.
Yeah. Come, it's free. You know, it's gratuity. Welcome to the group.
It's not that. It makes me rot.
Ah. Well, can I have it instead if you're not gonna have it?
Of course.
He pushes like the glass or whatever container like towards you after you ask.
Straight down.
He watches for a moment and then like folds it in. He just like looks down a bit, stops.
Oh, I want to hug him. Chance. I don't know. It's weird because he's very recluse. He seemed very recluse. They don't know how to deal with it, so I guess they'll just kind of eat at the food, like kind of just a little bit, not put off, but like feeling a bit awkward, but like trying to keep a bit of a pep. Yeah, but otherwise kind of in silence.
Yeah.
Except for the gross goblin. You know?
Yeah, the goblin sounds.
The goblin.
With that, I imagine because there's only the two of you, might as well rest in the same room.
Yeah.
Tumulus does not sleep.
Yes. See, this is... I wanted you to describe this, so you already know what I want. Go ahead.
He sits himself in a comfortable chair, and he waits till he thinks Chance is asleep, and then he slowly begins the process of he unwraps his wrappings that are on various bits of his body, either applies various ointments to wounds, rotting areas, or in some places he unwraps and then he begins to stitch and stitch. But it's not like a standard stitching that you use on a living human, because that puts too much pressure on the skin at the edges of the wound. So it's more like a spidery web lattice that he's stitching over it to hold it together for a little bit longer. You can probably see from some of the wounds that he tried a standard stitching, and the stitching just tears the edges eventually, because it's just skin. The flesh is dried somewhat, and there's some form of unnatural resilience to rot, but eventually it does just decay.
Does that mean he's like a bit smelly? Like, is he a bit smelly?
He smells musty, and if you get close enough, there is a tinge of mold to it, but he doesn't smell like a rotten person.
It's not like unpleasant.
It's not
just, like,
it's
peculiar.
not unpleasant.
Yeah.
Not unless you didn't like it.
Yeah.
It's like it's not like a thing that you smell and you're like, oh god, that's horrible.
It's not a naturally repulsive smell.
And then you maybe decide, oh, I don't mind that, or I don't like it. But
Smell
most
kind
of
of
the time, yeah, most of the time at the distance he's at, and bearing in the time he doesn't drink and stuff to keep himself dry.
Oh yeah, because
He
he's dry.
smells mostly musty. Like, you know, the good old smell you get when you crack open a fresh coffin. You know what I'm talking
It's a
about,
tomb
guys?
smell.
Cracking open a fresh.
If you've ever been to a, if your character has ever been to a tomb, it smells like a tomb.
I don't think Chance has been to a tomb.
Too spooky.
Bit too spooky, and I don't think Gokhan would have tombs inside the city walls. You know?
Yeah, they'd be off
Has been
somewhere.
to-
They'd be off.
You
Yeah.
just roll the bodies down a hill.
Into a fucking
Goblins, man.
into a ditch.
And it's into like a village of like Darrow or something. It's like, well, problem will sort itself out.
Yeah.
Bye, Grant.
You had your fun. Fuck off.
Funny thing is like that. It couldn't be far from canon.
There's
Like,
the problem.
it's very like in character for them to do something like that.
Right?
Cool. Well then, come morning, which, you know, morning doesn't really exist, but come when you're awake and rested and bandaged up on or whatever, you can meet back up and start getting ready to head all the way across the continent to Narashiro. You can climb up. The beetle does have like a little roll-upable ladder thing that comes up and down, but now it's nicer because of the palanquin. Although Ocean can just kind of... Although that's not very nice for the beetle to do that. Got to be gentle with the poor boy when you get on.
I'm gonna pat Upper.
Yeah. And you can get nice and comfy up there in your deluxe space, and start heading off. Who's going to be the driver?
Not
I
you.
want to be the driver.
No.
You probably have the most experience. You're probably the one who should be the driver, Chance, which is a little funny.
It is quite funny.
All right.
Ashral has no clue. Just
Chance when they get on the beetle, they're just gonna like plump themselves like by the head, just be
Yeah.
like, well, let's go.
Yeah, you could be like, you could basically be
pro.
sitting on the head, like legs
Yeah.
around like the little neck joint.
Yeah.
She's just yanking antenna.
And I think when they're sort of settled in and have begun to like skitter off,
You get used to the
If we're,
lumber
like-
of the thing.
yeah, on the sort of beginning of the outskirts of the city, Oshun will sit herself next to Tumulus and inquire about the wounds on the leg or the visible ones on the forearm maybe or something. Are these recent or are these from before you woke up?
I rather lose track of which one is which. Most are from after. It seems that when he died, he did not do so from physical means.
Would you mind if I tried something? I'm not sure entirely how it would work on one such as yourself, but I can try to heal you.
I see. While it may appear to someone who is living that I am wounded,
I feel no pain.
this is as good as I get.
I understand. Just I've noticed perhaps I can help keep you running more easily. She's going to point out the stitching on some that might be more exposed.
He like looks up towards Ocean's face and smiles, which is again not a pleasant experience.
Perhaps.
Would you like me to try?
Perhaps one day.
Yeah.
It's-
Oshun understands and is going to sit in companionable silence.
When she like
Wow.
looks at, he says it, and when she looks away and just stays there, he stops and just carries on looking ahead.
A while later, so that it's not sort of too jarring a topic adjustment, and Ashal will turn specifically to speak to Oshun, but will be speaking loud enough to ensure everyone hears. You are right to seek assurances from Olxuua. I would not trust her completely.
Do you know of her?
No, not in great detail, but she is a leader and one possessed of a great mind. She sees individuals as pieces on a board, no doubt. And we are two things to her. First, we are an experiment, a mixed group representing the races, to try and to see how far we can go. And
Second, we are a means to her ends. And I have no doubt that she wishes for us to succeed, that she was honest in speaking of us as having potential. But there is one other thing, that we are different. And those that are different are easily swept under the rug. We are disposable. She would not have sent her best agents on something like this. She hopes for results. She hopes for our success. But if it came to it, she would cast us aside. Of that I have no doubt.
Not that people can see it, but I mean, obviously, Chance can hear this, and there's like a slight visible like hunch of their shoulders, and like their face. If you were to be able to see it, kind of like scrunches up a bit. A bit of that jolliness is just kind of gone. Doesn't like that phrasing.
I think that Oshun can get a read on the feel of the troop right now, and is going to suggest perhaps a travel song from Chance.
I mean, I could probably try. Takes out
Just
the
gonna go
recursion
beetle,
again.
beetle, beetle, beetle,
Beetle, beetle, beetle.
Mushroom, mushroom.
With a tune
Good
of
little
Wonderwall.
beetle.
Little beetle.
Oh god,
Yeah.
now it's little beetle.
No! No. Once you open that, it cannot be closed. It cannot be closed once that is open.
This is canon in the Palanquin. This is happening.
There's a song that's being played, and it's up to Nil what it is. After all, it's a gnomish song, I'd imagine, from home.
Yeah, I mean, I guess to lift spirits, feeling a little bit annoying. You know, it's a bit of a crappy conversation, so what better way than an entertainer to lift up the mood, right?
Yeah.
So, in a weird sort of display of finesse, like, the reins of the beetle kind of, like, wrap it around their legs. So, like, her hands are free. And then
Oshun's like,
seatbelt.
like quad-dexterous, right? Like, you know, you get like ambidextrousness, like they're quad-dexterous. They could do anything with all four limbs. And then tunes the Makotian thing, and then just goes beetle, 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 beetle.
Is it in Undercommon or Gnomish? Do they know you're saying
It's in
beetle?
Gnomish.
Yeah.
It's in Gnomish.
Who knows?
Yeah, but to be serious, there is probably a song like a high spirit song about traveling on beetles,
Oh, for sure.
right? All that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, and their voice isn't that bad actually. It's like from a gnome, not from a gnome, from a goblin. Actually, a pretty decent singing voice. You know, quite unexpected.
Okay. You can sing a beautiful gnomish ballad, energetic gnomish ballad about traveling with new companions on the back of a trusty steed. And that's a great place to end off for today. Thank you everyone for being here, both y'all and y'all. Y'all, it's good, you know. Yeah.
Both of those were me.
It's you,
Neil,
it's me.
your
it's
character
me.
there.
Always trust in a Neil character, aside from... There's, like, only been one flop, ever.
That was because I didn't like.
You just
it.
didn't like him,
Yeah. I just
Which
I
happens.
didn't like it, and I was like, nope, done.
Yeet that character.
I really like. I don't know, but I've been told this beetle cost 500 gold.
That is actually. That is so good.
That
is such a good song.
I was smiling so
That's
much.
a good thing to have at the end of a D&D session. Here's a little bit while we can talk about what we do. Well, just a little bit from me first before we go all around. Of course, this show is streamed live on twitch.tv/Olirant at 7 GMT on Wednesdays. We also have it on the YouTube. You can support the show directly on Patreon. There is an extra show for $5 or more a month, which stars those three. Not this one. And there is also options to create NPCs in the games, like directly for campaigns. If you really want to break the bank, I would recommend it. What do you need that money for anyway? Right, world's ending. Give it to me. Give me the Christmas present of money. But y'all can continue on, starting with you, Nil. What's up? Thanks for being here today.
What is up? Beetle. I'm sorry. That's going to be in my head all day. I am Nil. Not Neil. Nil. With no E. Also known as Cosmic Layer. I play rhythm games. I do art. I haven't done anything this year because coronavirus. But if you want to look at stuff I've done previously, look up my thing on YouTube. If you want good memes, look me up on Twitter. And you'll find more stuff. Hey man, your jokes aren't even, they're not that good. You can't say shit.
You'll laugh. You're the ones who laugh at them. So, who wins really, right?
No one wins.
In this chat, no one wins. Olxuua always wins. Speaking of, Neil, thank you for joining the show on short-ish notice.
Thank you, Neil.
We super appreciate it. Tumulus is gonna be really fun. I don't think what anyone expected, and I knew what the character was. But perfect.
I love a he.
Just one.
I thought he was gonna be one thing, and then he was something else, and then I was crying, and then I was laughing.
Yes, Tumulus is different from my usual characters. He's dead. That's the difference right there.
Yeah.
No, he's one of my usual characters.
So I'm gonna stick with the voice. My throat currently feels like Tumulus's throat, in that it hasn't had saliva for however many years.
It's method acting.
So that's fun. That's enjoyable. I also play other D&D games where I don't destroy my throat, where I play Anis, the lovable little sprite who's kind of a dick. And I did play Rayron, a Pathfinder game on twitch.tv/Delric, but he might have died.
You haven't died in Jarviskjir, and that's what matters.
Yeah, I know. It was fair enough, like you pay for dealing with devils, right? At some point it comes back to bite you in the ass.
Most of the time when people make deals with devils in Jarviskjir, they manage to scam them somehow.
Devils are very nice enough, to be fair.
Yeah.
Anyway,
usually just doing their job. They got their own stresses.
He's deaded. I need to create a new character in Pathfinder at some point. So, you know that scene in Lord of the Rings where Gandalf has got all the different scrolls and he's surrounded by scrolls?
Yeah.
In the first one, he's got just the candle and the pipe.
That is making a character in Pathfinder 100% nailed.
No, it's satisfying, but it's a lot of reading. So yeah, you can see me there.
Nope, wrong way. Ian and Zoe, please expand yourselves.
Characters.
Yes, so I actually, to interrupt you as I introduce you, I read a thing recently that supposedly DMs kill the characters of players they love the most. Which means I must really love Ian because you're on, what, like a 40% death rate?
I don't think my death rate is actually quite low.
It's got better now. But
Yeah.
we have squashed the numbers a bit.
let me just have. I do have a record of it.
Your KDR's getting shit, Ollie. You need to bump that back up. You know.
I don't want to kill anyone. I don't want to kill anyone.
I'm actually including new one. I am at 18 total characters, 4 dead, 4 unconfirmed.
That's not bad. That's not bad. That's pretty good. That's actually really good odds. We'll take that.
But yes, okay. So I mean, most of my normal shtick has already been stolen by Ollie and Neil. Say like about Patreon and such like. It's really the Monday game at the moment is really good. And speaking of devils, just try to do their jobs.
We're trying to just mess everyone's day up.
We're trying to
down there.
bully devils into like helping us out with a wedding ceremony.
Historically, it has worked. Historically, bullying devils has always worked in Jarviskjir.
This is true.
So
this is true. Now I'm thinking back to
Here Be
Wildu,
Heroes.
that would
Yeah,
be-
Here Be Heroes. He had a bound scribe devil, who had to scribe.
Yeah.
Scribe is gonna scribe.
Basically,
yeah,
a
so-
personal PA, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Literally, but one that like resents you.
So not different then.
So like Siri, yeah.
But yeah.
Right.
Check out that Monday game. I'm not on anything else. Zoe isn't on anything else. I don't think that you want to announce.
Secretly, no.
If you are interested in more Yarv, if you want a list of my characters for some bizarre reason, then you are welcome to ask in Discord. I have a record of them all. I can give brief explanations. I can just talk about Yarv a lot. I've played it. Obviously, I've played it a lot. So
18 characters.
More,
Nearly
like,
more than
he's
me.
just died a lot.
Of course, when it comes to Yarv, you should join the Discord if you have questions. But also, we're doing a lot of homebrew streams lately, which are mostly about Jarviskjir. Although obviously, if you do world building or homebrew, you're gonna learn a lot, as well as about my world, but also just how to do it in general. Because I'm kind of good at this. We're also working on the Jarviskjir wiki where we can record all of this information. So if you're the kind of nerd that watches this and like, I want to write down what happened for future nerds, I sign up. Let me know on Discord, because it's a big process right now. We need you, and that's gonna be wicked cool. Yarv homebrew streams. I have a lot of cool ideas right now. We want to do the Grornleak. We want to do the Stone Orcs, illustrations and homebrew and rules and all of that at once.
Neil, I got so confused. I thought it was like rubbing like a big ginger biscuit against your face for like. I was like, what the? Fuck?
All right, it's getting weird.
I'll be honest.
I'm
If I was going to
sorry,
do that,
I was
I wouldn't do it on stream. Rubbing a big ginger biscuit.
sorry.
on my
If it was,
face.
would it be better if it's soft or hard?
It's got to be like. I mean, how many ginger biscuits you get? It's going to be a hard one. Obviously.
Well,
I'd
if you
probably
leave it out for a
ginger
bit, it
all
gets
over my
soft.
face. Do they really get soft?
Yeah, and that's when they're better.
They get stale, don't they?
Oh no, that sounds
No,
sounds rubbish. Ginger nuts. The best thing about them is that crunch, that
No,
initial
I
snap.
respect my teeth. Now,
Wow,
I paid a lot of money to fix them.
they're just not wheat biscuits. You know, that's like eating dwarf, but then like slow cooking it for 48 hours.
All right, it's getting weird. We'll see you
Anyway.
next
I am
week.
very tired, and I'm not sure.
See you
whether
next
this conversation is
time.
just not making
Bye.
sense because
Yeah,
I'm
I think
tired.
my